I'll start by introducing Laura, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I met her. I've been secretly following her on Instagram, and then one day I just decided to reach out to her to ask if she wouldn't mind doing a live session with me. And she was so gracious to, I think it was almost, I'm not really sure how many hours it was, but it was quite prompt. I was pleasantly surprised. And she said, yes, she'll do it. Now, to tell you how unprepared I was, when she said to me, oh, what would you like me to talk about? I said, I'll get back to you, because I wasn't even sure she was going to respond. But so I got back to her, and as they say, the rest is history. So let me start by introducing her. I'm sure you have your followers who have joined, but for those who don't know you, so my guest today is Laura Akano, who is the founder and principal coach at Polished Manners, a UK an etiquette and social skill training company based in London, England. She has successfully taught children, teenagers, and adults through her etiquette classes and afternoon tea events. She's been featured in television and radio programs, as well as newspaper and magazine articles. Laura has worked privately with high network families, expatriates, and visitors from other countries. She is passionate about empowering the youth and women. And I could tell, even by the conversation I had with her, I could tell that she was quite passionate about empowering them, in particular with life skills that etiquette training gives. Laura believes that understanding the rules of etiquette as it relates to different countries and cultures not only improves relationships, but also improves civility within society. And she teaches in a fun and practical, relevant way that can be applied to everyday life. So can we show Laura some love, appreciation? I'm sending you hugs from here.
Thank you. Thank you for that kind introduction.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be having a conversation about the benefits or importance of etiquette training. And I'll tell you why this was the topic that was chosen, because I've come across lots of people who seem to think that etiquette is just something, and I hate to say this, but I've actually had people say to me, oh, it's just something that the white people, white man or men introduced. It's been said that it's a colonial thing. And I also heard, oh, it's etiquette is for rich people. And I'm sure, I know from talking to you, you also heard quite a lot of things said about what etiquette
Oh,
is.
yes. Oh, yes.
But maybe a lot of it is ignorance about not knowing exactly what etiquette is. So just before we go into the benefits and importance of mentoring Laura, can you just tell us briefly what is etiquette? What is etiquette?
Etiquette fundamentally in its basic terms, and I'm sure most of us within this particular niche, we know what it is. It's basically broken down. It's about kindness, respect for others and for yourself, and it's about courtesy and consideration of other people. Simplified, it's about how you behave around other people, how you treat other people, how you make people feel when they are around you, and thinking about other people, not just about yourself. That's basically what etiquette is. And you mentioned about the fact that, yes, and I've had the same experiences, or the exact words were peddling a white man's idea, which really is not the case, because each country, different cultures, different tribes, wherever we all are from different parts of the world, each area, each country, each tribe, they have their own etiquette. So etiquette is basically a worldwide thing. It's a common thing. It applies in any culture, in any environment. And all it is that it's different from country to country, probably within even the same country, the different groups, the different tribes, etiquette is applied differently. And one thing I would like people to remember, that when we talk about etiquette, it's not just about what we do in England or the United Kingdom. Even Scottish etiquette is slightly different. In Wales, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Ireland is slightly different.
Yeah.
English etiquette is different, although gold standard across the world is the English etiquette, which is fine. But
Yeah.
what we need to remember is that etiquette is culturally bound. So it's not just about what we do in England. And I think that is where a lot of ignorance comes into it. Because every country, every language, everyone, no matter where you come from, everyone understands what kindness is.
Absolutely.
Everyone understands what respect is.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll stop there for now.
So, in a nutshell, as I say, etiquette is about respect and consideration, showing kindness to other people.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I guess if we have that at the back of our mind, it will make it easier for people to accept etiquette. But then, what are the benefits? Why would anyone want to go for training on etiquette? Now, when I was thinking about this, I thought we'll go for training to learn about all the things that we think might improve our lives. But when it comes to etiquette, it's like, oh, I can't be bothered. There are better things I can do with my money. So why would anybody want to go for etiquette training? So let's start to talk about the benefits and how would it.
Okay.
Okay, let me use myself. Actually, I can't use myself, but imagine I was someone that didn't know anything about etiquette. Well, how would going for an etiquette training benefit me, Laura?
Okay, let's start simply with where do you live? Where are you? Because at the end of the day, if I decide I'm going to move to India, China, or, some part of Africa,
Yes,
trust me, I'm going to be looking to gain some etiquette training locally so
yes.
that I can apply the culture and the customs.
Okay.
So if I focus on England, why do we need etiquette training? One, it improves confidence or enhances confidence. It gives you the knowledge and the skills that apply within the British society, how to conduct yourself and how to behave in different environments, professionally and socially.
Yes.
There are etiquette rules that need to be applied, that need to be followed. And if you don't know what to do or how to conduct yourself in these various situations, you will come unstuck. Even simply going for an interview, it's quite different to perhaps maybe if you're from a different part of the country. We don't, the British culture doesn't tolerate lateness. But
Mm,
we know a lot of people, particularly Africans, and it's within some of the African societies as well, that timekeeping is just not a big issue. You might get away with it there, but in Europe, in Britain or European cultures, that might not work. In America, that would not work. So
absolutely.
it's again about that awareness that where do I live? What are the things I need to know? What are the things that socially would make me more comfortable, and just understanding what works and what the rules are, how to behave, how to conduct yourself, how to communicate with people within the environment or the society that you live in. So
That's
it enhances confidence. Even professionally, it can really open doors for you because you might have the best qualifications, but
yeah.
if your emotional intelligence is next to zero, you don't know how to introduce yourself, you don't know how to speak to people correctly, your communication skills aren't really particularly good in terms of appearance and how you present yourself. All of these things are so essential. And one of the biggest things that I think people also forget to think about
Yes.
is how important dining etiquette and table manners are,
Oh,
especially whether socially or professionally, but particularly professionally. You're representing your company, you're taking a client for dinner. What are the do's and don'ts? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? All of those things are really important, but so many people take all of these things for granted.
do you know, Laura, let me interrupt you for a bit. I actually came across an article that said that a lot of partners will not employ anyone without taking them out for dinner or lunch first because they want to watch them to see how they communicate, how they eat properly, how they dine. And I thought, ooh, that's so what you
I,
just
I'm,
said
I,
is true.
yeah, I'm not surprised, and I would actually mention also. that I find within, because I know quite a number of people in America and we communicate, and when I've been there as well,
Yes.
the universities, oh, sorry, the employers,
Yes.
quite importantly, when it comes down quite often, and I know some of these academic people, when it comes down to two candidates, when they're recruiting, they
Mm-hmm.
take them for lunch. And it
Mm.
could be your table manners, that skill that loses you the job or gets you the job. Because if we entrust a client to you, how are you going to behave?
Yeah.
Would you know what to do? Would you drink? Would you know the correct type of food to order because it's a business lunch? So that is happening a lot. And so it's not something that people should take for granted. But I know most people think, oh, you know, I can eat however I like, which is great. That's fine. I'm from a different country. What do I need to understand dining etiquette for? But some of these things actually hold some people back from being promoted or being given additional responsibility just because they don't know how to present themselves or they don't have certain skills that
And
are required.
do you know what I just remembered, I used to work in a company where there's this lady, she was actually my manager at some point, but she had been there for ages, but she was never promoted. And another lady who came after her became a director. And it was only when we, like when we go out for lunch or dinner, that I found out that it was because she used to drink a lot. And when she drinks, she now starts to dance on the table. You can imagine with all the directors and the, and the board of directors. So I understood that that's probably one of the reasons why she was never promoted.
Yeah, and that's a very good example. So I just feel that people need to understand the importance of etiquette training. It's not just something that's just for the royal family or for rich people, because
No.
we all live within a society. We need to be able to get on better with other people. Communication, just even simple things like when you board a train or you board a bus. Behavior, thinking about other people. We've all experienced it.
Yeah.
The conversation on a 2 or 3 hour train journey at the top of someone's voice. People that would choose that, their shoes that they've been walking around with flat on the seats on the bus. Or, we see all of these things, and you almost think, who brought you up
Ooh,
to behave like that?
that is so true.
So
That,
it's really not a wasted skill. And quite often I find, particularly with adults, it's when they come on a training, they think, gosh, I never used to think of that. Even communication, conversations, questions you should or shouldn't ask people.
yes.
There's
Yeah.
so many. Oh, you've lost weight. Have you put on weight? Are you pregnant? There are
Oh,
just so many things. Giving compliments, accepting compliments, just so many things that it just gives you that confidence, that power. And I will use myself as an example. I'm quite a person, I like my own company, and some people would say I'm quite an introvert, maybe to a degree. But I did not actually build up that confidence to be comfortable to go to networking events and introduce myself and just be confident in who I am and knowing what to do.
yes.
Makes such a big difference.
It does. It does help.
A few years ago, there's no way I'd be sitting here talking to you.
I'm like that. I'm actually an introvert, and it's etiquette that has helped me to
So
network.
it really does make a difference. It's not about wearing the best clothes.
No.
Yes, your appearance matters. We talk about first impressions a lot, and
Yeah.
people will say, oh, I don't care, this is who I am. But those are the things that probably keep you back. Those are the things that don't help you to progress and make those gains that you probably should be making. So
Yeah.
it's so important. And I feel particularly for those of us from maybe other countries, because I'm not just going to say people from ethnic backgrounds, because there are other, we've got Europeans, we've got, people from Asia and different parts of the world. It's so important to understand etiquette as it applies within the society that you live in.
Absolutely.
That is how I would put it. So I'm not going to say etiquette or just British etiquette, but wherever you live, it's important to understand the etiquette of that culture.
I loved what you said when we were having the conversation. You said it's to get cultured.
Yes, yes, I say that a lot, because one of the things I would do, any country I go to, I'm not there to sort of go shopping, but I'm looking at the museums. I'm trying to find out about the histories. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find out about the locals. I want to know more about the country. And that is what I would spend my time doing. And I think that is so important, which is, and I use that a lot, not just for the young people, but the adults as well. There's no point you move from one country to another, live there for 30 odd years, and this is a conversation I have with people sometimes around me, and you have no idea about the system, you have no idea about the government, the politics, what the people are into, what the culture, you have no idea. You just live in your own cocoon.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And I guess what happens is we find our own tribe. So we find people who are like us and we don't want to find out about other cultures.
That's great too, because we all, most of us come from different countries,
Yeah.
and we're now living in England, for example, which is fine. You still maintain your own culture. You still keep, maybe you have your own circle of friends. You do, your own traditional occasions, whatever you do. But I think it's so important to know about the society that you
That
live
you're
in.
in. Yes.
And that is why I use the word get cultured. You've never been to the museum. You don't know any. I mean, for instance, in England, you don't know anything about the royal family. You don't know who is who. You don't know anything about the government. You don't. They talk about theaters. They talk about. You don't do any of that. You just live within that bubble, that whatever environment that you had from wherever you're from, and that is all you, that circle again you formed here, and that is it. Then it does make me wonder, why move to another country if you're not going to embrace the culture to a degree? And I think it's a sign of respect as well for your adopted nation
Yes.
to at least be a part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all those things that you've talked about, going to the theater, going to the museum. Those are the things that when you go networking, at least you have something to talk about, because, the people always say, oh, I don't like networking events because I wouldn't know what to talk about. But at least if you're exposed a bit more, you have something to talk about.
You're very correct. I say build up your repertoire.
Yeah.
So, and one of the tips I give when I train is for our communication or networking, which is all part of communication. You're going to, I don't know, let's say it's a wedding, or let's use a wedding for example.
Yes.
If you know the couple, you're going to probably be sitting down, if you don't have a big family or a group of friends, maybe you're going to be sitting down with people you don't know.
Yes.
Simple things. Try and have about 3-4 questions that you can ask people. The first thing usually would be, okay, when you get there, you look at the people. Obviously, you say hello, you introduce yourself. Perhaps think of in advance that maybe the decor, the venue, that's something that could be of conversation. You might want to then maybe, how do you know the couple, or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then you start that conversation. Another thing could be simple things like, oh, the food is lovely. That's something you can talk about.
Yeah.
Or maybe even just pay the person a compliment.
Compliment. Yes. Not
So you have
criticizing the food.
Yes. So think about, no, not criticize, but compliment the food. And if you think the food is not nice, then maybe that is not the right conversation. But
No.
just have about, at least three things that you already have in hand that you can talk about when you go for an occasion. And again, with communication as well, I often also find that whether it's networking or a party, there are people who should just be actors. Because I always say to people that communication, when you're talking to people in particular,
Yeah.
it's not a monologue. You're not an actor.
No.
It's a two-way street. So you give the other person a chance to talk. And some people, they monopolize that conversation. Fine, they do say the best communicators are the people that listen, active
Yeah.
listening, which
Yes.
is great, but also you need to learn. And these are some of the skills that etiquette teaches you, giving other people a chance to talk.
Yes. Wow.
So there's so many things that we can do that helps us. So I'm going for a networking event. Think of 3 things that you might be able to talk about if you're representing your company. Perhaps you're there to meet clients, maybe the products, and how am I going to do this? Who am I going to meet first? So you can be a bit prepared.
So I guess it's about being intentional. You know,
It
you
is
can
being
like be intentional.
intentional.
What do you want to get from that networking event? What do you want to
Exactly. So you can get ready in advance. Then the
yeah,
communication would not be so difficult if you already plan ahead. Okay, I have one, two, three questions, or I have four or five things I want to achieve, and
yeah,
you go with that, and that makes you feel better. And simple things like, okay, turning up on time. Who are the kind of people that will be there? How am I going to dress?
yes.
What am I going to wear? All of those things. And advice also is eat before you go for any event, especially
Why do you say
networking.
that?
The
Why?
reason I say that, especially if it's professional, if it's for networking, what
Yes.
you don't want to do is head for the buffet. The immediately you get there, you think, okay, that's the first thing I'm going to look for food, or that's what I'm going to say. Where's the buffet table? So it's not what you should do. You're there for a reason.
Mm.
So the food and whatever they offer, it's great, but make sure that that's not what your focus is on. So when you get there, you're not so hungry. You can do what you need to do first. If you have time to eat, great.
And you know that's good advice because sometimes they might not have enough food for everyone, so you don't complain because you've eaten at home anyway. We feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. I think that's quite important. But these are all the sort of social skills or soft skills that people can gain through etiquette training. Correctly sending, how to send email, how to
yeah.
send, when to use messaging, the messaging platforms, when not to use it, what's appropriate. We all know about social media.
Yes.
Don't comment, don't like. If it's not about you, just don't do it. And people talk about the young people. Adults are way worse when it comes to online tit for tat and abuse and things like that. So there's so much that people can gain, but they don't seem to realize it. I went for afternoon tea. This lady, I wouldn't say she's well known. She has a business that's doing quite well. And I was absolutely shocked that you've got to that level and you haven't taken the time to actually get etiquette training, to know that certain people you're going to mix with, to know how to behave. And the lady who actually organized the event, she was so disappointed. I think her husband was so disgusted. He left and went to sit in the car. Not only was she eating, I mean, simple thing like we were having afternoon tea and she was using a knife and fork to cut her sandwich.
Oh
She
wow.
she was taking pictures. We were delayed in ordering because we were waiting for her because she was busy, and she was just so rude. And I thought, you've managed to get to this level and you have no idea, no respect for other people. This is not your event. This is someone else who has invited you, and you
Yeah.
don't know how to behave. And she mixes with some pretty how should I put, high achieving people.
I do.
And I kind of think, how long are you going to do that for, that you keep getting away with that?
Oh, wow, that's so sad.
So she
But
absolutely, for me, she embarrassed herself and she embarrassed her hostess.
the sad thing is, she probably didn't realize that. Do you think she did?
Probably not. Probably not.
She probably did.
So
Oh,
etiquette training is not a waste of time. It gives you that confidence and helps you not to feel foolish. That confidence that you know you're going into an environment or a situation or an event and you know what to do. You know how to handle yourself. You know the expectations, how to behave. And as I've said earlier, it's not just about the British culture. It's
yes,
about wherever you live.
yes. But Laura, let me ask a question because a lot of times, like the lady you just described, people who need it don't actually know that they need it. So how do we get through to them? How do we get through to them? I don't know what else one can do.
I think that's $1 million question, which unfortunately, I have no answer to, apart from keep trying to educate people that it's not a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's not a waste of money. Um, it's an investment. That's how I say
It's
it
an
to my
investment.
client.
Yeah.
It's an investment. And I say the same even when people, children and teenagers or young people come on my courses. It's an investment because that's something money cannot buy.
Mm-mm.
You can have the best qualifications, the best brain, the best education. If you don't understand etiquette or your emotional intelligence are lacking, you're not going to get very far. And that's just the truth nowadays, that is so much higher than just getting that qualification. I had a friend in HR. She used to work for the government. Two candidates, final candidates. One had attended Oxford. I think the other maybe went to Lancaster University. The Lancaster University student got the job. And why?
Right.
Because of she just said just the whole package. They knew how to present themselves. They knew how to talk. You could see they were grounded. They were someone that can get on with people.
Yes.
Whereas the other candidate was purely academic, and they could see that that person just is not going to fit into the team, because you need to be able to work with other people, and
Yes.
you need to have those people skills. And that, I know, is part of what etiquette training gives you. Working with difficult people. How do I manage my emotions? How do I approach people? How do I do this? How do I going on representing my company, going on business travel? What are the expectations? What should I do? All of these things matter. Going for a meeting. So many people, oh yeah, what do you know? I don't need to be told about what to do until you list certain things and think, oh, I'm one of the courses I did recently, a gentleman, and he had said about meetings, and we were talking about meetings. I had said, one of the things I find which people do, and he was shocked. He said, yeah, I never thought of it. I used to do that. Whoever has convened the meeting, they're probably setting up everything, and then you choose to go and get there 15-20 minutes early, and they're still trying to set up and do things, and you're there just following them around the room with your eyes. I said, that is quite selfish and very uncomfortable. And I remember him thinking, I never thought of it like that. I said, no, 5 minutes before, a few minutes before, don't be late, then walking. They're probably doing last minute things. The last thing they need is one or two people already sitting there, and all of you are just gawping at them, and they're still trying maybe to finish getting ready. I said, you just need to think about it. And one of my trainers, he uses, there's a phrase he often says, which I like, and I think he might have borrowed it from someone, is that etiquette is selfless, not selfish.
Oh, I like that. Etiquette is selfless, not selfish.
Not selfish. So if we can start thinking a little bit more about how we behave, how our behavior might make other people feel, and also taking pride in ourselves, because we keep saying about respect for other people, but we need to respect ourselves, and the way we live our life, the way we do things, the way we speak, the way we present ourselves, everything shows whether we actually respect ourselves.
That's so true. That is so true. Okay, before we continue, if you've got any questions for Laura, please put it in the question box. Any questions, she's agreed that she'll answer some live questions. Great. Okay, so Laura, at what age do you think people can start their children at etiquette training? So for the trainings that you do, what's the youngest age?
Well, generally I say 6, but I know I've worked with 3-4-year-olds privately, individually, where the parents were involved in their homes, but not within a group setting. So group setting, age 6, but one-on-one, yes, I've worked with, as young as 3, who I've worked with. But I would say, in all honesty, you start from when they can hold their sippy cups, saying thank you, just whether they can say it or not, but you give them something, whether they say tao, whatever it is, just learning to say thank you, teaching them as they grow older to learn to share, to sit at the table. It takes a while, to be able to sit, whether they're in their high chair, get them to sit, they start learning to eat. And gradually, a lot of that can be done gradually as the child is growing up, and teaching them to be kind, teaching them to be able to introduce themselves, say hello, say good morning. So many times yes, my children are much older, but I know when they were at a certain age, I wouldn't have to say to my 4-year-old, oh, are you not going to say good morning or hello or whatever to uncle or someone? Because they would know to come and just say, oh, good morning or good afternoon. And yes, you get even some 7-year-olds now, and the parents was, oh, they're shy. And I just tend to think, really? That is just so rude. But, oh, they're shy. They don't, it's because they're shy. But simple greeting. It's
It's
got
not.
nothing to do with shyness.
It's not.
But a lot of parents don't seem to think all of this matters.
Mm.
And so it's not too early at any stage to start teaching them the simple things, saying please and thank you,
Yes, thank
just from a young age. And then these things would grow up with them.
So I guess the parents still have a lot to do before you even send the child for etiquette training. You start from, like you said, when they're young,
Exactly.
when they're 2, 3, and you start teaching them all these basic etiquette skills. Fantastic. Okay. Any questions? Don't forget any questions. Please put it in the question box for Laura. Okay. Wow. So any other benefit? Any other um, what would you leave us with? Because I don't think there are any questions. So you covered a lot. You've actually said a lot about the benefits of etiquette. So
Okay.
anything else you leave us with? For those
I
who
think
might still be
what
thinking, there might still be people who think, and then also people might think, yeah, but do I have to pay that much for etiquette training? What would you say?
well, I would say not all etiquette training is expensive, and I definitely would say that for what I offer and what I charge,
Yes.
I've been told enough times my prices are actually quite low.
Yes. Yeah.
I've definitely been told that, even up till now. So it's about what is important to people. And for adults, I say etiquette training is actually should be part of your personal development.
I love that. Yes, yes. Please say it again, loud and clear.
It's personal development. It's an investment in yourself. Whatever you think you know, whatever you think you do, there's always something to learn from going on an etiquette training. If you've never been, there's always something to learn.
I love
So
that.
it's an investment in your own personal development. I do say to some of my particularly Nigerian people around me, you haven't got a problem to spend however thousands on a Chanel bag or the latest pair of shoes, but if we tell you to come on a 550 course where you get you get a meal and a nice environment, about 7, 8 hours of training of personal development, that you will go away with a lot of things. No, it's too much.
Oh, Laura, don't get me started because I actually had somebody say that. I had an etiquette thing two weeks ago, and somebody actually said the same thing, that it's too expensive. And I'm like, really? For three
Yeah,
people
but
here?
they'd spend that on a dress or a
Oh
hand
yes,
or a bag
definitely.
and that is about where people maybe don't quite get their priorities
To,
right.
to be
I
fair.
see a lot of ladies, the way they sit, the way they walk, the way they carry themselves. You're clueless, and they might have the best wardrobe and everything, but they're just those things missing and they don't know, but they would tell you they don't need etiquette training.
So, oh gosh. Anyway, you've got a question. Let me see. In terms of online etiquette, how would you advise someone to handle an online troll who randomly insults you after making a comment? Is it best to ignore?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have to raise my hand up. I get that quite a bit because people think I'm a snooty so and so, and what nonsense am I peddling or teaching? So I do get that quite a lot. One is don't engage with people
Mm-hmm.
like that. Thankfully, we can all delete and block, and
Yes.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do not get into any conversation with anybody because it's just not worth
Not.
the effort.
Yeah. It's not.
So don't.
Once you
And
start.
that's the advice I always give. Just delete and block.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yes. Because once you start engaging and you start, it's just not worth it. It's not.
It really isn't. And you're putting, that's just negative energy, taking things, out of you when it's not really necessary. I get that quite a bit. And I think some of my peers do as well, simply because of what we teach.
Yes.
But hey,
So the advice
it's
is just ignore it. Ignore
yeah,
it.
just ignore it. I never entertain anything like that. I just wouldn't get involved. I get it on Instagram, I get it on Facebook. It's fine. But I always say if someone invites you um to their argument or silly party, you don't have to accept the
You
invitation.
don't.
So
No, you don't.
just
And
that's
what
the one
what
definitely to decline.
and you know what I really don't understand about this online trolling? I always think This is my personal space. You can just move on. You don't have to stop. You can move on. If you don't like whatever it is I'm putting out there, you just move on. But
I agree, and I say the same. You don't have to comment. You don't have to like. You don't, even if you disagree, just
yeah,
scroll on, or even unfollow the person if you
yeah,
follow them.
yes,
It's as simple as that. But you don't have to comment, or then start a unhealthy conversation or debate, and before you know it, it's got out of hand. And it doesn't help when you have celebrities and political figures doing all of these sort of things on Twitter and things. So yeah, it's really got out of hand, and I think it's a bad reflection. It really is a bad reflection on the people that do this, because it says a lot about their character.
yes, yes. In fact, I've got something I wrote down here. It says, "Good manners reflect who you are." So
It does.
bad manners reflect who you
Yes. Yeah, it really does. There's no need for it at all. Online, there's nowhere to hide. I know people say it's digital, it's virtual, it's this, but there are real people behind.
yeah,
You're hurting a real person.
yeah.
Whatever it is you're doing, this is still someone's life. This is someone, however they might want to see it. Just because you're behind a screen,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that it's okay, because it's not.
It's not. It's never.
And so these are the sort of things that you would cover in etiquette training: how to handle it, what to do, what not to do, etc. So there's so many advantages to it, and I've not met anyone yet that says, "Oh gosh, it was a waste of money."
No, no, it's not. Have to come and learn about how you never respond to rudeness by being rude. No. Okay, Laura, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much as
And
well.
if anyone has, we're going to end it shortly. If you have questions, quickly. But I'm just going to tell you how you can reach out to Laura. Like I said earlier on, she's the founder and principal coach at Polished Manners, and she's got a is it afternoon tea course this Saturday.
Oh yeah, the afternoon tea. Yes, I've still got a few places, spaces. Yes.
So if you would like to attend, what time does it start?
4:45 in central London. It's actually I'm using the very first hotel that offered afternoon tea on its menu.
Oh, which hotel is
The
that?
Langham,
The
the
Langham.
Langham in yeah.
Okay. And how do they register if anybody wants to register?
Well, if they want to register, they can register online or on my website, or they can contact me directly through Instagram.
Okay, and her website is www.polishedmanners.co.uk, or you send her a DM on Instagram, and her handle is at Polished Manners UK, right?
At polishedmanners.co.uk.
.co.uk. Okay, that's the website.
Yes,
That's the website. Okay, but the
yes.
Instagram is at Polished Manners
Oh, at Polished Manners UK. Yes,
UK.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So register for that, and she's also she has an online and in-person classes between now and December. So just visit her website, and you get all the details there. And
So, yeah.
do register for her courses. And as you can tell, just by listening to this conversation, you can tell that Laura is passionate about what she does, and she does know her stuff. So please register for that. So
Oh, thank you.
Laura,
I've been trained by some pretty good people as well.
that's great.
Yes, a lot of investment, and it's still ongoing. So, and that's what we need to do. We all need to do. We need to keep investing in our development, you know,
Yes, we need to. We
personal
really,
development. Yeah,
we
personal,
really,
professionally, we need to keep doing that.
yeah, personal and professionally, we need to. We can't stop. You have to keep learning. You
Yes.
don't want to become stagnant. And so, okay. And for anyone who may be interested, I've got my book, if because manners matter. And if you go into my bio, the bio, because manners matter, you can get the details. It's available on Amazon. So you can get that. If you want to find out more about etiquette and the benefits of etiquette, please get my book, Because Manners Matter, on there. So Laura, thank you
Fantastic.
again.
Congratulations.
Thank
I'll
you.
have to buy your book as well.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for inviting me today as
No,
well. It's
thank you for
been
being
a real
gracious
pleasure.
enough to agree to do this. I was so glad. And I'm sure we'll do more stuff together because you're such an awesome lady. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you
Oh,
everyone that joined.
thank
It's,
you.
it's wonderful to have you all here as well.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I know it was short notice for some people, but thank you for joining us. I've been watching the conversation going on. So thank you very
Yes.
much, everyone, and see you again.
Okay. Bye everyone.
Bye.